Ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to join you for the 64th Commission on the Status of Women. I am truly saddened that the extraordinary circumstances ushered in by the spread of the coronavirus have left us no choice but to postpone the full session of the Commission on the Status of Women, and instead we had to gather for this just one day. I know that activists and women's groups around the world share my disappointment. But I also take heart because I know we remain committed to the cause of gender equality. We all understand the imperative of achieving Sustainable Development Goal 5 on gender equality. This is quite simply a question of justice. As a student volunteering in the slums of Lisbon, throughout my political career, and as the leader of the United Nations Refugee Agency, I have always felt compelled to fight for justice, equality, and human rights. As Secretary General, I see one overwhelming global injustice, which is represented by gender inequality and discrimination against women and girls. Gender equality is fundamentally a question of power. We still live in a male dominated world with a male dominated culture and have done so for millennia. Centuries of discrimination, deep rooted patriarchy, and misogyny have created a yawning gender power gap in our economies, in our political systems, and in our corporations. This simply has to change. This year, the world marks the 25th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and its platform for action. Together, the Beijing Declaration and the platform for action, they define the most comprehensive and transformative global agenda for gender equality and women's empowerment. We see many nations around the world searching for solutions to the complex challenges of our age. One way to get us on track to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals is to accelerate the implementation of the Beijing Platform for Action. As we look back on Beijing, I am particularly heartened to see a new generation of inspired young activists across the globe. And these activists are taking forward this spirit of constructive action and fearless resilience. Their efforts are sorely needed. However, the vision of Beijing has been only partly realized. Women in parliaments are still outnumbered 3-1 by men. Women still earn just 77 cents for every dollar earned by men. And unpaid care and domestic work remain stubbornly feminized the world over. In some areas, progress towards gender equality has stalled or even gone into reverse. Some countries, in fact, have rolled back laws that protect women from violence. Other countries are reducing civic space. And still, there are other countries that are pursuing economic and immigration policies that indirectly discriminate against women. Up to date, women's access to sexual and reproductive health services is far from being universal. Therefore, we must push back against the pushback. Dear friends, a key legacy of the Beijing process created a number of fundamental movements. In fact, in these past 25 years, we have seen a growing number of strengthened, vibrant, and transnational women's movements. that are increasingly challenging the slow and piecemeal progress, and they are calling for urgent systemic change. These movements are advancing gender equality. They are demanding accountability from governments and other powerful actors. These movements are forging coalitions and they are working across themes, sectors, and political boundaries. All they want to do is to advance the rights of women and girls and show how they are inextricably linked to economic, social, and environmental justice for all. These movements are proposing bold and new alternatives for a different world. For example, young women's activism for environmental justice in Africa has put the spotlight on the impacts of extractive industries and unsustainable patterns of consumption and production. The movement Ni Una Menos in Latin America has built strong alliances across classes and generations to demand action on violence against women and girls. Now, ladies and gentlemen, is the time to build alliances and to stand together for women's rights. One such alliance is the Generation Equality Forum, being convened by the UN Women and co hosted by the governments of Mexico and France. The goal of the Generation Equality Forum is achieving tangible results on gender equality to deliver their Sustainable Development Goals. The vision of the Generation Equality Forum is very clear: equal participation of women and girls in political life and decision making in all areas of life. Here, at the United Nations, we are determined to lead by example. And this is why in January this year, we are very proud to say that we have achieved gender parity. In fact, 90 women and 90 men are now covering the position of full-time senior leaders. We have achieved these 2 years ahead of the target that I set at the start of my tenure. And we have a roadmap for parity at all levels in the coming years. This long overdue change is an essential recognition of the equal rights and value of women's staff, and this is a fundamental instrument to change power relations within our organization as well. It is also about improving our efficiency and our effectiveness for the people we serve. This commission, therefore, is an opportunity to further galvanize the momentum for gender equality and women's rights that has been growing around the world. I urge you to use this session, therefore, to focus on what unites us and to strongly reaffirm the Beijing Declaration and the platform for action in its full, effective, and accelerated implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, let us send a clear message to the world that women's rights are human rights and that gender equality is central to all sustainable development goals. Thank you.